Hey y'all, what's happening, everybody? For those of you that are on Instagram, good to see you this morning. We're getting ready to get started here in about 20 seconds with the live show. So let's go. I don't know if y'all are ready. I am. I'm ready. Here we go. What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your buddy, your friend, your uncle. Not your uncle. I'm not even your uncle. Yeah, I'm not even going to go with that. Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Welcome to another show. I'm so glad that you're here with us this Monday morning, June 5th, 2023. I should probably not say the date so that I can use this in the future on a replay. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement, the show, 15 minutes of motivation, elevation, and inspiration designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. So what is our question for today? Our question for today is, have you ever felt guilty because of your ambition? Have you ever felt like you were leaving people behind and it scared you? Have you ever felt like you've got these dreams and these ideas and you want to go forward, but you're nervous about what happens with your community and your family around you? What do you do with this? And what if the people that you're leaving behind are people who support you and love you? What do you do with all of that? Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. So first of all, I want to greet everybody. Hey, Sokra. Hey, James. Hey, Mary. Hey, Johnson. Hey, Linda. How you doing? So glad to see you this morning. So glad that you're here this morning. Hey, Chip. So glad that you're here this morning. Arietta. Glad that you're here this morning. All right. Pakti, glad that you're here this morning. So glad that you're here this morning. All right. So we're going to rock and roll with the show in just a second, but if you are wanting to know when we're going live, then make sure that you text Go Live to 240-55-STORY. Text Go Live to 240-55-STORY. I'll be playing that, or I'll put that on the banner in just a few moments here. But we're going to get moving and rocking and rolling with the show here. All right? Y'all ready? I'm ready. Ooh, let's do it. All right. Here we are, Monday morning. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here again. If you want to know when we're going live, go live. Text Go Live to 240-55-STORY. That's 240-557-5689. Yes. I am so glad to be back. Last week I was away. We did a replay. Last week, of course, it was Memorial Day here in the United States, and so we didn't get to do a live show because we were busy barbecuing and partying, something like that. All right, but we're glad that you're here this morning. Do me a favor, if you are here, just type your name or just say hey in the comments. I want to shout you out. All right. Dual Vision Photos. What is going on, my dude? Good to see you. All right, let's see who else is in the room. Jamie, good to see you this morning. Marcus, good to see you this morning. Excellent. All right, so let's jump on in to the show this morning. Man, this was a hard show for me to put together. Because it deals with something that I feel like a lot of times when I share something with you, there is an answer or a suggestion or a solution that I can give to you that will help you move forward, and maybe something that I've passed through already. But the truth is, I don't know that I'm fully all the way through this thing. So I don't necessarily feel qualified to give you answers on it. And that's why it was hard. But it was a process, and it was a learning curve for me to really dig in here just a little bit. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the loneliness of progress. Mm. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by the loneliness of progress? Well, here's the deal. I was in a coaching conversation with someone some time ago, and one of the things that they were telling me, they told me that they felt this mixture of conflict and loneliness. And they weren't really sure why they were feeling this way. They just knew that they were in this place in their career, in their lives, where they were pushing after some goals and some ideas and some things, but they weren't really clear on why they were feeling this conflict. And after we had some conversation, what they realized was that they had these goals that they were after. They had these ideas that they were pursuing, and the people around them didn't always understand those goals and those ideas, right? The people around them didn't always understand those goals and those ideas. And so they kind of felt not just misunderstood, but they felt like pursuing those goals and pursuing those ideas meant that they were leaving people behind. Right? Pursuing their dreams, pursuing their ambitions kind of meant to them that they were going to have to leave people because instead of staying and explaining all the time what they were doing, they just wanted to do it. And there was conflict inside of that for them. And why this was difficult for me is because I've gone through and in some ways, on some days, still experience some of the same things. Right. I remember telling my wife one day that I felt like if I went into full on go mode, it would feel like I was sacrificing our relationship or leaving her behind. And this is why I love my wife. You know what her response was? She was like, "Bro, you ain't leaving me going nowhere." Right? She literally was like, "No, listen, your success is our success. I got my stuff that I'm pushing after. You got your stuff that you're pushing after. And we just have to remain in conversation about it. But you're not going. You're not leaving me nowhere. I'm not just sitting here watching you. Right? We're on this journey together." Right. And so that I think I bring that story up with my wife because that's why it's so crucial to have well chosen friends and relationships. Because if you have relationships that um, where you begin to wonder if you're going to leave them behind, or if you're constantly feeling that way, if you're constantly feeling in conflict, or constantly feeling that loneliness, there may be some questions that you need to ask yourself. So maybe the first question that you want to ask yourself and that you want to start out with is, am I feeling conflicted about my dreams? Am I feeling lonely about this pursuit? And maybe you feel this way, but you don't necessarily realize it right away. Maybe you don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know if you've ever had that feeling where you just know that something is off, but you're not quite clear on what it is. Maybe you feel this way, but you don't necessarily realize it. So let me ask you some other questions. I'm going to ask you some other questions to really lean into this a little bit. Okay. Hey, David, digital creator, how you doing? All right. Good to see you, Milton. Good to see you, Noah Wash. Good to see you. All right. So if you have some thoughts that you can relate to these questions that I'm about to ask. If you can relate to these questions I'm about to ask, just go ahead and raise your hand or type yes or me in the chat. All right. So here's question number one. Do you feel apprehensive about stretching your friend circle? Do you feel apprehensive about stretching your friend circle? Does the thought of going outside or having new friends or new people or trusting new people, does that cause you apprehension? Does that cause you to, you know, get a little bit tense? That's question number one. I want you to ask that to yourself. Question number two that you might ask yourself, or that I want you to consider as you're thinking about this journey, this loneliness pursuit, right? When you think about the dreams that you have, are the people around you dreamers as well, or are they just surviving? Are the people around you dreamers as well, or are they just surviving? Well, how do you know this? How do you know this? Well, sometimes when you ask people simple questions, their answers give away a lot. When you say to your friend, "Hey, what's new?" or "Hey, how's it going?" they might give you an answer like, "Hey, I'm just hanging in there." Right now, yeah, I don't want to dismiss or minimize that people have problems in their lives. But if you're somebody who is a dreamer, if you're somebody who is ambitious, if you're somebody that has goals and is after something, and the people around you continue to say, "I'm just hanging in there," then it may be time to reevaluate the time that you spend with certain people or certain parts of your community. I know that's hard for people to hear, especially because some of those people might be your family members. I know that's hard to hear. I know it's hard to hear that, oh my gosh, I may need to separate, or I may need to step away, or I may need to do something different, even for a season. I know that's hard to hear. But if people around you are constantly saying, "Oh yeah, I'm just hanging in there," or you say, "Hey, how you doing?" This, "Oh, it's just another day," or you ask, "Hey, how you doing? What's happening? What's new in your world?" and they say, "Oh, same old, same old." What are you surrounding yourself with? And if you have a dream, if you have goals, or if you're somebody who's driven and you continue to be surrounded by that, you are ultimately going to begin feeling frustration. Because when dreams are suppressed, they turn into tension. When dreams are suppressed, they turn into tension. In some cases, they turn into guilt. And so you've got to ask yourself about your surroundings, right? Are the people around you dreamers, or are they just surviving? How driven are the people around you? That's another question. Here's another question I want you to ask yourself. Are the people around you satisfied and comfortable, or are they constant learners who drive each other to that next level? It can be scary to think about these things. It can be scary to think about these things. And we don't always want to admit it, but there can be a whole lot of guilt associated with separating ourselves from the pack, or joining a new pack, because as humans, we're pack animals, right? The majority of us are pack animals. We thrive on companionship, we thrive on relationship, we thrive on the groups that we associate ourselves with. And when it feels like we are separating from that pack or that group, it can cause some anxiety. And rather than feel that anxiety, sometimes we allow ourselves to stay in situations despite the tension that comes with squishing or compressing or trying to push away our dreams. And that can lead to guilt. It can lead to a lot of different internal chaos. But sometimes we've got to be willing to separate ourselves from the pack, or join a new pack. If it means being or becoming our best selves, if it means fully living out the gifts and the talents that we have, if it means fully and finally flying, then we've got to be willing to separate ourselves from the pack. There's a story of a mountain climber wanted to climb one of the highest mountain peaks in the world. And he started out with a pack, or a group of people who said, "Yeah, we want to climb this mountain peak as well." And they were climbing this mountain peak. They set off on their journey and they started to climb up this mountain. And I don't know if you've ever done any mountain climbing. Sometimes we hear about it and it seems pretty easy. Like, oh, you're just climbing up some rocks. It's just like climbing up the jungle gym or the monkey bars. Right. But they're climbing up this mountain and they run into a lot of different things in different parts of the world. The higher you go, the weather that you have to deal with changes, right? So this pack started out and they were on the way up this mountain, and there was terrain that they had to deal with. There was crazy weather that they had to deal with. And little by little, as they got higher on the mountain, some of them started to fall off the journey. They couldn't go any further. They didn't want to go any further. They thought it was crazy to go any further. Partway up the mountain, this group met a Sherpa. And the Sherpa started to take them further up the mountain, but there were still some people that fell off the pack on the way up this mountain, and it kept going on and on like this until there was only one person, this main mountain climber that I shared with you at the beginning. And this mountain climber was going up the mountain with this Sherpa, and this Sherpa was taking this mountain climber through all of this crazy terrain. And on the way up the mountain, not only was the Sherpa taking this mountain climber through crazy terrain, but the Sherpa was also sharing some lessons about how to navigate the terrain and how to navigate the challenges that were being experienced as they went up the mountain. And they kept doing this. He kept learning the lessons, kept teaching him everything that he knew as he went up the hill, as he went up the mountain. Until they got to this point called the boundary of the unknown. And they got to this boundary. And the Sherpa said, okay, I've never gone past this point. This is as high as I can take you. And at this point, the mountain climber had a decision to make. Do I continue on this journey, or do I go back down the mountain with the Sherpa and with everybody else, because nobody else has gone this far? And the mountain climber decided at that point that they were going to continue on the journey. And here's what that means. Sometimes you decide to continue on that journey and you step past the mentor, you step past the Sherpa, you step past the persons that have been on the journey with you, and it can begin to feel like you are alone. And you can feel some guilt because now you're on this journey. You're going higher than all of the other people who you started out this journey with. And you can feel like, oh my gosh, I've left everyone. And with that level of success, there can come some guilt. But this mountain climber decided that he was going to push through and started to go up to that next level of the mountain, past the boundary of the unknown. And of course, the mountain climber ran into some obstacles, ran into some challenges, ran into even more crazy weather, ran into crazy terrain, and began to feel alone. But the mountain climber wasn't alone, because the mountain climber only had to lean into the lessons that he was taught by the Sherpa. And he continued to lean into those lessons until he finally reached the peak or the summit of that mountain. And as he came back down the mountain after reaching the peak and connected or reconnected with the Sherpa and the other people who were now amazed at the fact that he had accomplished this feat, he realized that the loneliness that he might have felt in the moment was only temporary. And he always had the lessons, he always had the challenges, he always had the experiences with him to keep him going. So a lot of times when we are in this journey towards success, or we're looking to leap to another level, we feel like we don't want to leave the pack, but sometimes it calls for leaving that pack in order to reach the summit. It calls for stepping past the boundary of the unknown in order to reach the highest level. If I look at this quote to my left, it says, "The best way to grow is to reach beyond your grasp." And yeah, Yeah, the journey can be lonely. It can be lonely. But in order to reach the best version of ourselves, we're going to have to reach past what's comfortable. And sometimes that means reaching past the people that we've become accustomed to. And when you do that, how do you deal with the loneliness? Well, again, recognize that you're not alone. First of all, there are people who have done this journey before. There are other people who are doing another part of the journey as well. You might not see them and it may feel like you're by yourself, but there are other people who are driven. And sometimes you may be able to find them on the other side of that mountain. And the truth is that sometimes there might be a portion of the journey that you'll need to do by yourself. But know that there'll be Sherpas, there'll be mentors along the way. So as we end today, I end every session with helping you to or assigning some actions for the week, some things that I want you to look at. So here's what I want to share with us for this week. So here are the three actions. Number one, I'm a proponent of having goals and things that you're pursuing. So I want you to sit down with your goals this week and look at the one that scares you the most. All right, look at your goals this week, and I want you to look at the one that scares you the most. Then, number two, I want you to find someone that you can share this goal with and discuss what really pursuing this goal looks like. Find someone that you can share this goal with and discuss what it means or what you will have to do or who you'll have to become in order to fully pursue this goal. Then once you do that, I want you to create some time frames around that goal pursuit and figure out what balance looks like inside of that. Create some time frames. I'm going to pursue this goal full out for the next 3 months. And then I'm going to reconnect, because here's what happens. Sometimes it's not just the leaving people. We don't have to leave people, or we don't have to leave our pack forever. Sometimes it may be that we need to leave our pack for a period. We may need to leave them for 3 months. We may need to leave them for 6 months. And then return to reconnect with them. And your returning to reconnect with them based on your accomplishments and your achievements will inspire that pack. So you may need to leave and step away for a moment, but create some time frames around that pursuit and then figure out what balance looks like, because there is extremism and there can be an imbalance as well if we go full out in pursuit of our goals and neglect relationships. So I want to have balance still as a part of that equation. So that's why I say number three, create some time frames around the pursuit of that goal. So number one, sit down with your goal. Look at the one that scares you the most. Number two, find somebody that you can share this goal with and discuss with them what the goal pursuit looks like, what really full out, all in pursuit of this goal looks like. And then number three, create some time frames around the goal pursuit and figure out what balance looks like. Hey, y'all. Today is Monday. It is. And we want to shift your mindset to a place of growth, but it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Hey, listen, this is the Monday Mindset Movement, so make a choice. Move. Start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday, for the Monday Mindset Movement at 8 a.m. here on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, oh yeah, Twitch, all the places. I'll see y'all next time on the Monday Mindset Movement. Peace.